Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the new Playmaster concept. So, what is a play? And we're specifically going to talk about the AEI of Playmasters: aggregate, exhibit, improve. All right. So let's talk about Playmaster. So Playmaster is a new concept. I've never heard anybody talk about it before, so I think it's mine. If anybody else has talked about this previously, point me to them. I'll give them credit for kind of initializing it. But I think I'm the initializer. So what is a Playmaster? It's a new needed role for one of your players in your Dungeons and Dragons game, in my humble opinion. All right. So let's move forward and I'll explain this. All right. So basically, let me define Playmaster. By the way, this is part of a playlist. You don't need to listen to everything in the playlist, but if you want more context or you just want to have a fuller idea of what I'm talking about here, you can watch the playlist, which is linked right below. All right, so let's talk about Playmaster. A Playmaster is an elevated player, right? So basically, a Playmaster is a player who does three things for the player group. They aggregate the group's concerns to the dungeon master. Okay, so let's talk about your four players. You got Sally, you got Becky, you got Rose, and you have Sarah, right? So Sally and Becca, right, are going to be are essentially your two best players. But Becca has an attendance problem. She misses about 1 out of 4 sessions, right? They're tied except for that. But Sally's your best player, and she has the best attendance, right? And she really is better than all the other players. Becca's exactly as good as her, right? As dedicated as her, except she misses in attendance, right? So you make Sally your playmaster, okay? And actually, you as the dungeon master don't make her your playmaster. You walk everybody through and you allow them to elect their own playmaster. Setting your playmaster in place is its own content. I'll talk about that separately. All right, so Sally becomes your playmaster. What does she do? All right, so Rebecca, right? She has concerns about a problem that the dungeon master is doing. The dungeon master constantly has their NPCs save the day, and every time one of their favorite NPCs shows up, they're always the rock star of the session, and all the shine goes on the dungeon master's NPC, who sweeps in and does a Gandalf and like saves the hobbits, right? And Rebecca's like, hey, I got a player character in this game. I want my player character to be the star. I'm sick of this blue-clad paladin that the dungeon master is constantly bringing in as a I'm sick of this, right? Now, if Rebecca just goes to the DM and goes, you suck, I don't like this, you never make us the stars, it doesn't go well, right? But if Sally goes as a playmaster to the dungeon master and says, hey, you're doing this thing and the player group is concerned with it, one, the playmaster has a better connection to talk to the dungeon master, right? Because they're already the most dedicated, powerful, useful player, right? And they should have more goodwill from the DM, right? So aggregating allows people to say things in aggregate, protects them from the wrath of the dungeon master. It's better, right? So let's talk about exhibiting. The second thing that Sally does is she exhibits tier 1 play, top tier play, right? She never uses her phone if it's not to look up something on D&D Beyond, right? She constantly takes notes. She interrupts her own plans to put shine on other players, right? To make sure that the goals of other players are happening, right? She asks people at the table, hey, when they're like looking, when she sees them rifling through the player handbook, right, for 5 minutes and not finding what they need, hey, can I help you find something, right? She exhibits what the best players in Dungeon Master does, and she serves as a powerful example of Tier 1 Dungeons & Dragons play, okay? And last, she improves the play experience of every other player, right? Not including herself, right? The playmaster is sacrificial and will sacrifice a portion of their own fun if it means 2 or 3 or all of the other players can have more fun, right? How do you improve the play experience? In 100 different ways, right? And each playmaster will bring their own solutions, and I'll give you ideas for solutions in that last one as well. The playmaster is a powerful, powerful servant of the play group, right? But trust and believe, they are elevated above the play group. They are the playmaster, right? And this is important too, because wait a second, the word master is there, right? It means they've mastered play, right? It means they are master of play at the table, right? And it comes with power and authority and respect, right? Exactly the same way the word dungeon master was injected with power, authority, and respect from day one in 1974 by Gary Gygax. And I believe the playmaster is really part of his legacy and honors Gary's legacy and expands what he built in the direction that he pointed all of us. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.